Welcome back, baseball fans, to the 1971-74 Carryover League card set analysis. We are continuing tonight in the 1973 season. In our third installment, we'll begin the National League. American League analysis has been done. We're to go to the National League East and the National League North. We'll do 8 teams tonight. Take a look at their keepers and potential rookies who have still have their rookie eligibility for another year. We begin with Atlanta. Atlanta wants to keep Rico Carty, Mo Drabowski, Davey Johnson, and Mike McQueen. So let's see what they have. Here's Carty. He had fantastic 69 and 70. Missed a season. Was kind of ordinary in the earlier mid-70s. Came back in the late 70s with a nice year with Oakland. This is just an okay card for a DH type, but nothing special here. This, however, Davey Johnson is not ordinary. This is Davey Johnson's 73 card that the Braves traded for. They will end up with 3 cracks at it instead of 4, because Baltimore held on to him for 70. But this is the famous 43 home run card of Dave Johnson in 1973 with a 270 batting average. Just the 2 of the keepers. The other 2 guys aren't available, but this is a definite. Unbelievable, folks. We saw how dangerous this Brave lineup already is with Dusty Baker and Ralph Garr and Hank Aaron and, my goodness, Darrell Evans and now Davey Johnson. Pretty ridiculous. We can now take a peek on the other side of the rookie class that's still available, including Rod Gilbreth. That's a decent performance against lefties. Good defensive player. That's not bad at all. 284. Not bad at all. Like they need more help. They have Darrell Evans, so I don't think we need him, but it's there. How about this guy, Chuck Goggin, super utility player. Switch hitter with catcher in there in the infield and an outfield spot. And he's just like your typical Atlanta Brave during this time. He, of course, can hit, because they all can. They always do. Chuck Goggin, 297. Unbelievable. Next guy. How about Frank Tapadino? Where's he going to play? He's a 300 hitter in a platoon. Just the most dangerous offense in baseball, folks. I don't know how to explain it. The 73 Brave team is on fire. Absolutely on fire. When your backups are hitting 284 and 297. Rorik Harrison, he has a good year earlier than this. This one's okay. Tom House, a little ordinary reliever, gets a lot of home runs. More famous for being a coach to a famous football player, I believe. Ron Schuler, too many home runs. And you see the problem with the Braves is obviously the pitching. It's just okay. 387, opportunistic 387. Of course, he's going to surrender home runs in that ballpark. About a ridiculous collection of talent for the Atlanta Braves. My goodness. It just doesn't seem fair. Yet, we know they don't really do much with it, historically. Of course, they were behind the Dodgers and Reds. No more. Reds are in the north, Dodgers still in the west. Braves are now in the east. With this team, the Florida Marlins. Florida, it's Marty Martinez, Felix Millan, Jose Pagan, and Roger Repos. When we look on the dust clears, only Millan is available. Nice bit of hitting here for Millan. He'll be a 1 eventually. He's a 2 here, but the bat handling is fantastic. I'm not sure why he's a de-stealer suddenly. Great base runner and a great bat handler and a 300 hitter, I'm guessing, right? 290. 290 hitter. But definitely worth getting into the league. The Florida rookies, Mario Guerrero, middle infielder, kind of a singles hitter there. Is okay enough against lefties, but he's probably hitting 223 or something. 233. Rusty Torres, even worse, might be hitting 160. A lot of walks, but that ain't going to get your batting average up. Yep, your dreaded 091 hitter. And actually, this is an opportunistic 091 because at least he has these walks over here. You can play with this card, folks. I mean, 5 to 10, 5, 6, and 8, that's like a 350 on base just against lefties and 27% as a decent middle infielder. Could an 091 hitter get into the league? Well, folks, a long time ago, 083 Chuck Scribner got into the league because he was a 3, he's 16 at short. Ed Rodriguez. Oh, he's a pretty decent reliever. Walks some guys over there, but most righties do. Aren't as good against lefties, of course, so he's workable. With 3.30 ERA. So it's, you know, it's a Marlin team. It's just a team that didn't exist during this timeline, so it's going to be hard to find viable options most of the time. All right, now the Mets in a World Series year of 1973. This should be impactful, we would hope. Their keeper list includes Wayne Garrett, Gary Gentry, Jerry Grody, and Willie Mays. And this is Garrett. And this is a fine Garrett card. I like this one. Full-time power. Look at the power against left-handed pitching. I prefer this one because if you can make him be a full-timer, that leaves a roster spot open to platoon elsewhere. 256, you see that plate appearances here and the power. And of course those walks help that batting average. I like this Wayne Garrett. And he can even play short if you want to start him there for offense and then bring in Bud Harrelson. Gary Gentry's still sticking around, and that's a good card. Of course, he doesn't pitch as many innings, just 87 innings here. But that's still good. All right, it all comes down to Jerry Grody's throwing arm, in my opinion. He has a 270 card, but he's a zero-arm catcher. I prefer the arm. So here it's 256. I'm telling you right now, I'd rather have this guy. If a -3 is available, I'd take that. But I'll take a -2 arm and 256. Over 270 and a 0. And then Willie Mays, here past his prime, can no longer play well in the National League. Could be a DH though in our replay. Yeah, not a good look there for Willie. And your remaining rookie class consists of one guy, Harry Parker, and a good rookie. A decent pitcher here. The Mets always have decent pitching. 8-4, 3.34 ERA and 97 innings. I think there's a vacant pitching spot when Jim Bunning retired, so Gentry could go in the rotation and Parker could go in the bullpen with Frisella, Acosta, and Tug McGraw. But I even think they have other available options there. So it's a good problem to have for the New York Mets, but basically getting Garrett and Grody secure is key. We're going to have a Gentry pitch on 3 days rest, and there's a good Willie Mays card in 1971. So the Mets have nothing to worry about. They're going to continue on the top shelf in the National League. And now you're rebuilding Phillies. Very young team. Expected to draft Mike Schmidt in this draft. 74 card. So they're going to go with Johnny Callison, Barry Lersch, Tim McCarver, Tony Taylor. Johnny Callison's at the end of the rope here. He's got a nice 72 card, I believe. Yeah, he's done. Barry Lersch was a starter, now he's just a long reliever, and he's just kind of so-so, isn't he? Pretty ordinary. Don't want that one. Now McCarver, the arm is never going to be fantastic in this era of his career, but his bat's there. He's got power versus righties. A B-hitting runner. Always was good with that sort of thing. Good contact hitter, doesn't strike out a lot. And can hit lefties okay in a pinch. This is like a 273 hitter, isn't it? 266. That's a decent year. Tony Taylor, we don't want this one. He's got 2 better years earlier. One with the Tigers and one with the Phillies. And in this one, he's still with the Tigers, but he's at the end of his line there. So that's not a good look either. Of the guys we saw, McCarver looks the best. Your young rookies. Bob Boone could be ready. This is an okay catcher. Nothing spectacular, but that's a 256 hitter roughly. 261. Did play a full season, so he's ready to go if we need to do that. McCarver needs a battery mate, so Boone could be arriving. Tom Hutton, a slick hit fielding first baseman, mostly in a platoon. That does very good here. It's a nice 1977 as well. Power both ways. That's a nice gift. So you're not concerned with him against lefties. 263. A little low for a corner first baseman. You want more production. I mean, if he was a middle infielder, I'd take 263, but first base, I want more. Ron Lolich, not really much there. Mike Rogodzinski, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, Mike. I love the walks over here as a platoon player, but nothing special. 238. Now this is 73 Schmidt, technically his rookie year, if he exceeded it, his 367. That would be his rookie year, so we know he didn't win that at a 196 clip, but that's all right. His 74 year, he's locked in, and his career will bloom in 74. So we'll skip this one. Lonborg has a nice card a little bit earlier than this with Milwaukee. They might take that one. This one's not very good. And Dick Ruthven-Nails, starter 6, walks guys, but otherwise is decent. 422 and 128 innings for the Phillies. Yeah, I mean, they're not there yet, and it's going to be probably 2 or 3 more years before they start contending for this division, because right now the Mets and the Braves are clear to the top guns in this division. All right, let's pause a moment, and then we'll begin the National League North. Okay, we go to the National League North, and we'll begin with the Chicago Cubs. And they will have Hickman, Hundley, Kessinger, and Williams. Jim Hickman had a great 1970. Power, walks, corner guy, and first base. The walks really help him here, you see. Probably a 238 hitter with a ton of walks. 244 hitter. But just 3 home runs and 201 at-bats. You like more bang for your buck with this guy, but that's still a decent player. He's decent. Could get into the league with this one, but we think he's got earlier years that are better. Randy Hundley, it's all about arm first, and it's -2, which is excellent. Like the power here, batting average is not particularly fantastic. He's probably a 211 hitter. 226. And again, the arm means most, and the power and the arm together makes him a viable option. Here's a Kessinger card, and you know you're going to get this similar performance, a very steady performance year in and year out. You want him to be a 2, good bat handler. You'd like him to be an A or B stealer, but if not, no big deal either. No home runs, and very symmetrical player. One of a very constant here. So yeah, you're going to take one of the 4 years between 71 and 74 for Kessinger. And the fun part about guys like this is you wait and lock in the other guys in the specific year. And if you're short talent in one of the years, take Kessinger in the year you're short, since you know you're going to get the same performance. So versatility in a draft is what Kessinger helps the Cubs here. Billy Williams, 72 year, will be selected. But it's good to know in 2 years, when that card is up, you can go right to this one. He's a Hall of Famer with a little bit less than that performance here, but it's still a good performance. 288, 20 home runs. That's nothing to sneeze at. But it's a big drop-off from the 42 home runs and the 330 batting average. But still, gotta love the guy. So he'll be playing for the Cubs for quite some time. Their rookies, eligible rookies. Pat Bork, kind of a DH against righty type, but homers and walks, but not much else. 209. Without, a good candidate for a Colorado Rocky player. And for lack of a better comparison, the Cubs are sort of like your Colorado Rockies of the 70s. Love to hit home runs and don't care too much about the rest. Chuck Brinkman gives you an arm and not a bat. The arm will always be a consideration of getting into the league, but the bat will not. The Carmen Fan Zone. Caught the final out, I believe, a pop-up of the Milt Pappas no-hitter, if I'm not mistaken. What a cool card this is for Carmen Fan Zone. Corner guy and can play the outfield. Look at the power both ways, look at the walks both ways, and the batting average will get you over 275, I think. Percentages or heavy over here. It's a tough one to guess. I'm guessing 272? 273. Well, there, I'm off by a point. But that's a cool card. Yeah, so this definitely could get into the league. Your utility guy. Gene Heiser, decent defensively, not much else. And an outfielder without power and speed is not worth a lot. Don't see that happening. Ken Rudolph, we've seen catchers with better throwing arms, so probably not him with a bad bat. 206. And those are your Cubs. Next up, your Big Red Machine, your defending world champions. Of course, they're going to have some excellent, the Hall of Fame keeper list, I should say. The Hall of Fame keeper list. Listen to this. It's Johnny Bench, Tony Perez, Pete Rose, and Bobby Tolan. Oh my goodness. I guess it's done by alphabet. So Bench is your 72 MVP. But here he is again with a 1-4 in 73, with just 25 homers and a 253 average. Just 25 homers and 253. So not his best of the 4 years, but you certainly wouldn't mind this card otherwise. Tony Perez, magnificent card here. He's got to play first, and you still have Lee May on the roster presently. So you got to figure that one out. Do you want to go find a third baseman and have Perez and May at first base and DH and lock that position up with this card? Or do you keep Perez as a third baseman in one of his earlier years? Because we're not going to trade Lee May for Joe Morgan just yet. The Astros are denying that from happening. Hey, guess what? Here's your 1973 National League Most Valuable Player. This card was denied because we like the 70 card better. It might get denied again because we like the 71 card as well. The batting average is certainly there. He hits 338. But the power's down, the walks are down. He's also not his arm is down and his speed is down. He still can do the handle the bat, of course. It's Pete Rose. Destroys righties though. I always like a switcher who does that. So I think it's a choice between 71 and 73 for Pete. Tolan misses 71, but has a good 72, and then after that, it's pretty much over for him. He goes to the Padres. He's still with the Reds here. Hits 206. Then he's on to the Padres. Got traded for Clay Kirby. And how about the young guns? Are they ready to bloom? Geronimo, is he ready? Well, defensively, I think he is. He's in a platoon here, but the batting average is 210. You could wait. You still have Bobby Tolan. As long as you got Bobby Tolan, there's no need to rush Geronimo. Bill Plummer is just the guy who backs up Johnny Bench for the decade and doesn't hit a whole lot. Does have some walks here, though. They are employing a backup catcher presently, so they don't need to get Plummer on the team. Full bottoms of starter 6. Vulnerable to walks against lefties. Okay otherwise, though. Some, outs on this card. Out. There's a fly ball there. Aside from the walks against lefties, he's a pretty nice pitcher. Like a 3.40 ERA. 3.02. Because those walks apparently didn't hurt him that much. Nice card. But of course, like most Red pitchers, they don't pitch on 3 days rest. That's your that's your Reds. So let's put those guys back then. Bench on the top over there. Okay. 2 more teams to do, then we'll call it for this evening. We got the Pirates, a team that is disappointed in the last 2 summer leagues, and they're running out of time. They're 71. They're on the clock for their 71 World Series team. They had the best record in baseball in 72. Arguably, 73 is also a fantastic year for the Pirates. Their keepers are Roberto Clemente, Al Oliver, Bob Robertson, Manny Sanguillen. Clemente has 2 more cards left, 71 and 72. Of course, you can keep him into the league after the tragedy, all the way through 72 to 75. We talked about that before, how Roberto Clemente could prevent the 75 Cincinnati Reds from reaching the World Series. There is a possibility in our structure. So his card's not here, of course. But we got Al Oliver. We want him to play center field. He's not particularly crazy about playing center field, but he does it pretty well here as a rangy 2. And he hits close to 300, 292. With the 20 home runs and the power there. So this might be the card we take for Al Oliver because we need him to play center. We're clogged up in the corner outfield, DH, and first base. Guys like this, Bob Robertson. Not his best year. Still has the power, but he's hitting 239. And Sanguillen, Nice card, but here's a guy who hit 318 and 330 previously. So when you see him at just an ordinary 282 with 600 plate appearances, you think he's in a slump. Most teams would gladly have a 282 hitting Manny Sanguillen. Also, his arm is deteriorating a little bit, so that's not particularly cool. Let's look at the young Pirates. Jackie Hernandez, I don't think we need him. He's okay. 247, was in the league before. The Cobra, a very young Cobra. You can wait on him. He'll get better in 74 and after, of course. But he's ready to go right now in a platoon. He crushes righties, decent defensively. A 0 arm for him, so we know that he has to work on that a little bit. 288 hitter on a team that is so rich in corner defense and outfield. He might not get into the league because they have Stargell and Clemente and Oliver, Bob Robertson, and just, yeah, a ton of guys. We have John Lamb. Very ordinary, very vulnerable against lefties. No, it's not going to work. 6, area of 6. Yeah, that's not going to happen there. Well, they might have to just keep going with the older nucleus and wait on the young guns a little longer. And lastly tonight, the St. Louis Cardinals. It's Ted Sizemore, Reggie Smith, Bill Sadakis, Chuck Taylor. Sizemore, as a 3 second baseman, if you can get him as a 2, you probably should. Good bat handler, not much power, extra base hits. I hate that out on 10 there. I hope you better hit the 13 to make up for it. A lot of walks against righties, though. That's good. Decent batting average, probably, what, 276? 282. Not many extra base hits. Good bat handler, not a good base stealer either. Decent base runner. You can see why the Dodgers preferred Davey Lopes and got rid of Sizemore. So any of the Sizemore cards are going to look like this. It's going to be the same. I talked about Kessinger just a moments ago. Just, he could be the flexible player that you fill in a year lacking talent otherwise. Now, Reggie Smith. It's still a Red Sox year, but you can take it because the trade's already happened. And the question is this 73 Smith better than a 74 Cardinal Smith? He's no longer a 2 in center, but he has the great throwing arm. And he's got the 300 average and the switching home runs. This is an excellent card. Outstanding. So we'll have to wait and see what the 74 card looks like in comparison. Oh my goodness, here it is, folks. The famous Bill Sadakis card of 1973. Are you freaking kidding me? Look at the home runs against lefties. This is not a misprint there or there or there or there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different possibilities of getting yourself a home run. That is a ton of home runs. 5, 6, 7. Turn that 9 into an 8. 5, 6, 7, and 8. With a 1 to 4 shot. Yeah, one of the top percentages there. Switch hitter, you can still play him every day. Got to get this card in the league. I'm surprised the Colorado Rockies haven't traded for this guy yet. Cardinals need something special like this to happen to them. A freakish player. Because they're in the same division with the Reds and the Pirates. So they still have Joe Torre, they still have Lou Brock. Ted Simmons is getting better. They've got to figure out a way of getting past the Reds and Pirates. And in a short league, this could be the way if this guy goes nuts. Now, Chuck Taylor, this is, of course, one of those nameless cards I often mention. I just print out a blank, and then I'll write in the stats to get him into the league as a draft pick. But I'll never use these cards in the carryover league. So this is just a reminder that Chuck Taylor's performance exists, though it's not draftable. So Taylor will have to be chosen in years 71, 72, or 74. Let's take a look at the young rookies of the Cardinals now. Some of these guys weren't even Cardinals. They get drafted to them, though. Mike Adams. This is a fun card. He was a Twin, I think, right? Yeah. 212 hitter, but 66 at-bats. Check out the 17 walks and the 3 home runs. And it's all very effective. You see you're not getting it. There's a 1-6 on 6, but otherwise that's fun against lefties. They gave him full-time power with the 3 home runs. An automatic home run 6 pretty much. A 14 chance there, and on bases, on walks, or hit by pitch all the way through to 10. Hit by pitch is a bonus. This is a fun card for a 212 hitter. It will get into the league at some point, whether it's the first year or in a future year. That's just too much fun. Normally a guy like this ends up on an expansion team, not a traditional Cardinal team. Here's pinch hitter Gonzalo Marquez. Actually was a Cub. You know, he was good in the 72 series for Oakland. And his pinch hitting is down this particular year. Not very good at all. That's not going to get it done. Not enough there. Here's Bake McBride. Now here is definite rookie material. Just 63 at-bats, so I think he still has his rookie thing for 74. So, but those were very productive at-bats in a platoon. His defense, his range isn't there yet, but you could get this guy in the league just for the right side, not against lefties. Kenny Reitz, good defensive third baseman. He's not a 1 yet, but a 2 is very good. And this is the same sort of batting performance you always get. He gives you like 10 homers in a full season normally. He'll have power against lefties, sometimes against righties. Very slow-footed. B-hit and runner, and has the ability to play shortstop in a pinch. Almost a full season, and the 235. Fell short of the 10 homers because he didn't play a full season. So, Rich Folkers, 3-7, very nice. Like the out on there, that's nice. A little heavy on the homers and the walks. Triple 1-19 is not good, but an out there is nice, and there is nice. It's kind of like keep one eye open, one eye closed with this guy. He's got some nice spots and some ugly spots. But he's certainly viable as a lefty to get into the league. 3.62 ERA. I predict he gets into it. You know, if you can throw left-handed, you'll get into the league. And the last player for tonight is Orlando Pena. Relief 3, definite closer material here. Look, no home runs. Not many walks. The extra base hits aren't that dangerous as against lefties. Somewhat against righties. There's a lot of strikeouts. Great card. 4-4 with 2.18 ERA and 62 innings. Viable closer. This guy gets into the league. So the Cardinals are looking very sharp with their young guys. Adams, McBride, Folkers, Pena, potentially joining Reggie Smith and Sadakis. So there's a ton of good news in 73 for the St. Louis Cardinals, and they need good news. They're up against it. All right, that's 2 divisions in the National League. When we pick up next week, we'll do the Mountain Time Zone and the National League West, and that 73 box will be done, and we'll have one more box after that. Thanks for checking this out, folks. We'll see you next time.